Okay, let's talk about those chat features we all use every single day. Read receipts, your online status, those messages that disappear. We like to think of them as privacy tools, right? But what if they're actually creating something else? Something we could call a deception engine right in the middle of our most important relationships. That's what we're diving into.
Oh man, we have all been there. You feel that knot forming in your stomach when you see the person you messaged is online. They're active, maybe they're even posting something on social media. But your message? It just sits there, unanswered, unacknowledged. It is a uniquely modern and pretty awful kind of psychological limbo.
And this is the machine that powers that feeling. We call these features privacy, but a lot of the time, they become a system that quietly chips away at the honesty in our digital lives. So yeah, welcome to the deception engine.
So how in the world did we get here? I mean, to really understand why our phones can give us so much anxiety, we've got to take a quick look back at how we used to communicate.
Just think about it for a second. Back when we wrote letters, silence was normal. It was ambiguous. It had a certain grace. You had no idea if they'd even gotten your letter yet. Then the internet comes along and gives us the read receipt, that little scene or that blue check mark. All of a sudden, you had proof. It was kind of uncomfortable, for sure, but it was honest. And then tech companies made that honesty optional. And that created this new, deliberate kind of hiding. We called it freedom, but what we were really choosing was to be invisible.
And this is so crucial. By making honesty a choice instead of a default, we accidentally built the perfect environment for ghosting someone without feeling bad about it, for avoiding tough conversations without being held accountable, and for, deceiving people without ever getting caught. We basically made hiding the new normal.
All right, let's dig into the psychology here. Why do we actually choose to become invisible in our digital lives? What's going on in our heads?
So what's really fascinating here is the massive imbalance these features create. I mean, look at this. They're designed 100% for the person receiving the message. They get to feel protected, in control, they have their privacy. But the person on the other side of the screen, they're left feeling anxious, uncertain, and just waiting. It's a system that puts one person's comfort directly at the expense of another person's peace of mind.
So why do we do it? Well, it usually comes down to one of four things. For some people, it's a real anxiety shield, a way to cope with the constant pressure to respond. For others, it's a power play, right? A way to control the conversation by creating uncertainty. But probably most common, it's an avoidance strategy, a way to just sidestep difficult topics. And then, of course, you've got your habitual hiders, the people who turned it off once and just forgot about it. But here's the thing, no matter the reason, the effect on the other person is exactly the same.
And the deception engine has another really powerful tool in its arsenal: vanishing messages. They're sold to us as a feature for security and privacy. But in our everyday chats, what are they really doing? Well, a lot of the time, they just remove accountability. You can say something hurtful, or make a promise you never intend to keep, and then, poof, it's gone. No record, no responsibility.
But, and this is a really big but, it's not that simple. We absolutely have to look at the other side of this coin, because these exact same tools can be incredibly important shields for our protection and self-care.
And this slide lays it out perfectly. Hiding is sometimes completely healthy. If you're dealing with a toxic relationship, turning off your status isn't deception, it's a safety measure to stop someone from monitoring you. If you have a high-pressure job, it's how you create those crucial boundaries between work and life. And if you're dealing with mental exhaustion or grief, it lets you stay connected to the world without feeling this immense pressure to perform socially. In these cases, privacy is a sanctuary, not a weapon.
And you know what? That same logic, it applies to vanishing messages too.
There are some really key situations where they are not just helpful, but necessary. I mean, think about it. Sharing sensitive info, like a password or an address, or coordinating a quick meetup. They're also vital for really deep therapeutic conversations where you need to feel emotionally safe, or for protecting a journalist's source. In these moments, vanishing messages are truly about security, not about dodging accountability.
So we've seen how the very same tool can be used for harm and for health. The core difference between the two, between protection and deception, well, it all comes down to one little thing: your intention. See, the technology itself is totally neutral. The real question is, why are you using it? Are you turning off your status to protect your mental health? Or are you doing it to ghost someone without any consequences? Are you using vanishing messages to share a password safely, or to say something cruel and then pretend it never happened? Your intention is what defines the act. It's everything.
So here's a really simple rule of thumb that can help guide you through this. If you would be
embarrassed or awkward for the other person to know that you've seen their message right now, then you probably shouldn't be reading it in that moment. That feeling, that little urge to hide while you read, that's usually a pretty good sign that you're choosing avoidance over honesty.
Now, the good news in all of this is that we are not powerless. Not at all. We can actually make a choice to build a more honest digital world for ourselves and for the people we care about.
So, what can you actually do starting today? Well, here are 4 ideas. First, think about keeping your own read receipts on. Be brave enough to be seen. Second, if a conversation is important and personal, let it last. Don't use vanishing messages for the heavy stuff. Third, if someone leaves you in that gray zone, it's okay to gently name it. And finally, and maybe this is the most important one, actually talk to the people you love about what good, honest communication looks like to both of you.
At the end of the day, it really all comes down to this question. The technology we use, it shapes us. Every single setting we choose helps build the kind of person we're becoming. So do you want to be someone who shows up, who acknowledges other people, who is brave enough to be seen, or someone who hides? The choice, quite literally, is in your hands.